All right, welcome back, everyone. How's everyone doing?
We're doing great.
Shannon, I'm excited for the pink-headed fruit dove. This is going to
Me
be a fun
too.
one.
This came because we have Jenna McCullough is in our house, and every time Jenna comes to our house, it's all color, 24 hours a day. She's going to be here for almost a week, so 7 days a week, all color, all day. So as she was talking about other things, we started looking through picture books to understand the distribution of whites on birds. And of course, every time we talk about color, I get diverted into pink. And so I just we were talking about how this bird gets to be pink. And so the pink-headed fruit dove is aptly named. But I mean, the reality of this, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this is that doves are incredibly poorly known. I think if I had to put money down, I would put them as the least poorly known, most poorly known family of birds in the
Oh,
world.
wow.
We don't have any detailed trees of life for them. There are very few genomes of them, but they vary absolutely spectacularly in color, in distributions, on islands, being flightless, going extinct. There's all kinds of things that doves do. And before I get to the pink-headed fruit dove, one of the coolest things when I made a game a long time ago with the people in the museum. It's kind of a matching game. And then there was one, it's like a Pokemon game. I don't think you can get them anymore, but it was really fun to do. And I think they were really fun. But one of the birds we did was one of these fruit doves. And so I did a little bit of research about it. We had an artist rendition of the bird, and then we had facts on the back. And you could play this game where we assigned powers to each bird, and it wasn't just about strength or anything like that. So when you played the game, you could figure out the powers that you were attaching to the kind of the battle that you might be waging against another card. But anyways, one of the things that we did was this fruit dove, and there are pictures of this fruit dove, and it's incredibly bright, green, pink, incredible. And there was a picture of it, and most of these doves live higher up in the trees. And there was a picture of it from below where that unbelievably brightly colored bird completely disappeared into the
What?
branches, into the mottled with the dappled light coming through
Cool.
the trees. And you could not tell there was a bird in there.
Wow.
And it became, so brightness is in the eye of the beholder, right? And if that bird spends most of its time up in the trees, most other birds' experience with it is looking up at it, where it is incredibly camouflaged. So it might be brightly colored to the other birds that are in the tree with it, the ones it's trying to mate, but the ones it's trying to avoid, you can't see this bird. And so that to me was its superpower in this game,
awesome.
was its ability to disappear.
Even with that bright pink head.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it made me, then I was looking up pink, because I always do this because I really like pink. And so I look up pink birds, not infrequently. And then we got to this one. I thought we could talk a little bit about this bird, even though I think this bird might have the shortest birds of the world account of any bird in the world.
Wow.
It is not even a whole full page of almost nothing is known about this bird in real life. So, which is kind of funny.
I think it's worth talking a little bit about its geography, because it's native to Java and Sumatra, and
it lives at high elevations in the mountains.
It does, and there's a $10,000 question from my perspective, because Java and Sumatra are these very large islands, so they're on the order of the size of Cuba and Hispaniola, and yet they've had lots of people on them for many, many hundreds of years, to the point where the deforestation across the islands is rampant, including the fact that most of the lowland areas are gone on both islands. And so I always wonder when you see something like this that's up in the mountains, whether it's always been up at the mountains or whether it was basically forced up in the mountains as its final stronghold as a species.
Oh,
Kind of disconcerting. Yeah.
Well, then it's
Yeah.
resilient.
because it's only found at a certain elevation, right? There's like a range in the
In theory,
mountains
above
on these islands
2000,
that okay,
theory above 2000, but we know so
okay.
little about it.
Wow.
It's an interesting thing. It's the scientific name is Tilenopus porphyrius, which the porphyrius part is very apt as well. And we have 8 of them uh, only in our
Oh,
collections.
wow.
And the um, genus name is Tylon, Ptilon, which means feather, and Pous, which means foot. So feathered feet.
Mm.
And this group of birds has feathers all the way down the legs. So that's
Oh,
where
wow.
the genus name comes from. And
But this,
Porphyrius turns out to be more interesting than I thought. I thought it just was from purple or crimson, like just reference to the color, but that's not really what it is. It stems from porphyra, and it's a term for the Phoenician Tyrian purple dye. So that's what it was named after, which I find. And it has some interesting feathers on its neck. Like it has variability in what the feathers on the neck, the shape and structure of them, which we were talking to Jenna about. I want her to go look inside of them, tell me why they are the way they are.
Mhm.
Like they almost look a little more like textured or thicker compared to the like, sleeker part of it,
Yeah,
or okay.
yeah,
I'm
and
looking at a
from
picture of it.
from what Jenna tells me now is that thickness is something that can that can cause brightness. So this bird is
Okay.
the feathers are extremely bright. So if you have something that's white underneath or light underneath and you make a thicker feather, it's going to reflect back bright. And this bird reflects back bright. And so is the white band. So the
Mhm.
bird has this pink and then it has a white band, and then it's ringed in this beautiful green then there's a band of this really beautiful green color after that. It's a really, really, really pretty bird. Anybody who likes pink should go take a look at pictures of this bird
Yes.
because it
so
is pink
you know
fantastic.
what these birds, as Shannon was saying, so that genus is almost all green-bodied birds with these incredible amounts of variation across the breasts and heads in various forms. And so I can't remember how many species there are in the genus, but there are a lot.
47, there are
Mm.
47, and their
Yeah.
heads differ in shape too. So, we always think of doves having dove-like heads, but there's quite a bit of variation in the shape of
Huh.
these birds' head and the extent of white, whether you have white or not, what color the green is.
But I
Really,
think
really
almost all of these
spectacular.
are frugivores. So
Yeah.
they're going around in the forest and eating tropical fruits
Mm.
that that are in probably fairly specific ones across most of the season.
And then
Do
going
they
back,
exist? Sorry, go ahead, RJ.
oh, I was just gonna say, going back to the geography too that John was talking about. So, you mentioned that they're, Sumatra, Java, and Bali. So, so for people who aren't familiar, that's kind of near like Indonesia, almost like between like Australia and India, kind of along that area. But so are these different? Like they're not migrating from like each of these islands to another island. Are these separate populations in each of these places, or do we
So
know?
so
We don't
I think
know.
they're called
Mm.
different subspecies, aren't they? And so there's
Are
some
they?
variation. I don't know that, again, coming back to
Mhm.
what Shannon was saying about
Yeah.
them not being overly studied, that it's probably not been looked at.
Okay.
I'm going to guess because they're so tied to these high elevation forests, there's a reasonable chance they do have genetic structure across them, particularly because of the Java and Sumatra are old islands. And so these are not, they're not recent phenomena. I mean, they could be 5 to 10 million years old, and yet at the same time, one of the things about success of doves and pigeons globally is the fact that they can move around between islands. So
Oh,
Okay.
really strong flyers for birds, And so they've colonized islands, just like the kingfishers that Jenna works on, all the way across the Pacific. There are
Wow.
pigeons
So
and doves on every continent except
Wow.
they're
Antarctica.
they're thought of as a species of least concern for right now, um, except that their habitats are under pressure. But now, in the blackback woodpecker episode, we talked about the benefits of social media, having Ryan reach out to me. But now what's happening in social media is that these fruit doves are more and more common for sale on social media. So they're more
Oh,
common now in the
no.
markets, and they're being
Mm.
traded through social media. And so that is an indication of the fact that you need to pay pretty close attention to what's happening to these birds, because they do live, there's not a huge amount of habitat for them to live in, although these are big islands. But so, that's an interesting thing. And then looking up some fun facts about them reminded me of the National Aviary, because the National Aviary in Pittsburgh has these birds. So you can go see
Oh,
them
wow.
live in this aviary, which is the largest indoor nonprofit zoo dedicated to birds
Oh, cool.
in the U.S. And they have one, so you can go. It made me want to drive to Pittsburgh to go
I know.
see
That's
one.
really cool. Yeah.
And I asked ChatGPT things about this bird because there's so little. I thought, let's see what ChatGPT says. Um, and it had a lot of things I kept querying it till it had to agree. This is wild speculation and we don't really know anything about this. Okay, fine. And that has to do with, well, they're really important seed dispersers.
Oh, okay.
So, and they swallow seeds whole because they're little thin, their beaks are not, they're not sparrow beaks. They can't cut things in half. They're not parrot beaks. They can't rip big fruit or anything like that. So,
That can grind things up sometimes, but
but they have to get it in there, and they're getting it in there with their beaks. And so the question was, how do they find fruits that are ripe?
Hmm.
And that there's all this speculation about visual systems and the fact that bird visual systems can be tuned to the color of ripe fruits. And so this
Oh,
thing
okay.
lives in the trees high up, so it's gotta, if its vision is tuned to that, it can find the trees that have ripe fruits. So I don't know if I believe that, but that's one of the things, and that's testable, right? So if you could find enough of these birds to actually do that.
Wait, so potentially they could look at a fruit and know its ripeness just from
Exactly, by its
wow.
color.
That's
And they could
really
do it
cool.
from a distance because they have really acute vision. So I don't
That
know if I don't know, but it's a good story.
yeah,
And it's
Yeah.
testable.
they were
Mhm.
talking about, you see them in small groups of 2 or 3, where I'm guessing those are mated pairs and things. But then you'll also see groups of up to 17. And my guess is those are situations where there's a good fruiting tree. So they watch each other
Okay.
too,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
move around the landscape to find things to eat too. One thing about pigeons and doves is it's not that they're not territorial, but they aren't highly territorial like a lot of other birds.
Okay.
So what did you think when you saw this bird?
I thought it's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. As I say, I wanted to ask, is this a bird that would live entirely, in the canopy and not come to the ground at all?
Good question. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I've seen species from South America that I consider to be canopy birds come down to the ground sometimes. So
Okay.
if you think about it, fruit drops off of trees, so ripe fruit can
Mhm.
drop. So there could be
That's
situations where it's absolutely worth your while. The only caveat meaning there are probably a whole different set of predators that you start dealing with if you come down to the ground.
okay. Very cool. I wanted to follow up also on something you said, Shannon. So you said there's 8 specimens, or you have 8 individuals.
Uh-huh.
Is that the lowest do you know which bird has the least number of individuals in your collection?
Oh, we have there's a huge tail of things that across the 11,000 species of birds where we would only have one of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Especially things
Wow.
we might have traded for. So we might have traded one of ours for one of someone else's just to complete
Okay.
the picture. But
And-
8 is on the
That's
8 is
amazing.
on the low side, but not on the lowest side.
Okay.
8 was more than I thought. I didn't think we would have that many. I was actually surprised we had 8.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So I was, when I was reading about it, just trying to find like similarities to like the dove that I'm familiar with, the mourning dove, and I was trying to see if its call
Yawn.
sounds like
Oh, come
whining, and it does not
You
sound
are
like.
you are dissing one of the prettiest birds in the
No,
world by
just 'cause I like
comparing
to
it to
think,
the
like-
whining mourning dove.
No.
Come on, RJ.
But I was reading about just how they make like kind of the flimsy nests too, and how their
Yeah.
nests are
Yes.
not anything to note about. But what I thought was interesting was it said that the males build the nests and that the
Yeah.
females just observe. So females were observed not participating in nest building and instead were observed to perch in tall nearby trees, and that the males do all
Yeah.
the nest building. I just thought
Almost
that was kind of
certainly
interesting.
judging, right?
Yeah,
I don't
right,
like the way
right.
you put that.
I know.
One of those 6 sticks is not
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, you'd think then that they'd put some more effort into it, but
Yeah,
it sounds
right.
like they're still flimsy.
No selection on that front.
Yeah.
Female choice. on
I
doing
love it.
anything special.
But I thought that was so Shannon, what you're saying about like looking up at them and that they can just disappear. But with that bright pink, so is that like you talked about dappling light, or is that blending in with fruit in the trees, or is it just that there's so much color variation in the trees that it just kind of all falls off? I mean, I can't believe a bird with that
Yeah,
bright
or-
pink head could
Or
disappear.
the way
That's
it
so
holds
cool to think
yes.
about.
The way it holds itself could be.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
whether what you see and what you don't. I didn't look, but I should have looked to see if there's any pictures of it from underneath so that you could do that.
I think we have a really warped sense of this now. And I'm saying that because on the one hand, we've got binoculars and cameras.
Mm.
And so if you were just out there walking in the forests of Java and Sumatra, trying to figure out what you were looking at 30 meters away in those situations with the changing light, it's probably pretty much impossible to be sure that to see that head in the right light to actually have
wow.
to make a contrast. And yet it's probably I wouldn't be surprised for the birds being up in the canopy that pink head really stands out.
Mm,
So they can find each other.
Yeah.
okay. Cool.
And if that bird can't make you love pink, nothing can.
That's
You would
right.
have to admit that you have a flaw in your character.
I see the flamingos did pretty well in the March Madness thing.
Oh,
They did.
Yes.
Next year, maybe it'll be the pink-headed fruit dove.
Yeah.
I outvoted the flamingo as a choice. I just want it known.
I'm still kind of baffled by that.
Nick broke the tie, and nobody named him the VP of the March Madness to go around breaking political ties. So, but he has a right to it. At least it's pink. He has a right to it.
Yes.
Yeah. When I was doing research, I loved, there was just the eBird definition, or just said an absolute gem of a dove. I was like, yeah.
I love
It
it.
is like a jewel, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is like a jewel.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I might have a number of clothes that color. I just maybe have.
We do have a mailbag question. Is there anything else on the pink-headed fruit dove we want to get into, or?
Let's
No.
listen to the mailbag.
All right. So this is from Kelsey, Kelsey G. She reached out on Instagram, and she has she's a photographer. KG Wildlife Photography is her handle on Instagram. But she sent us some really cool pictures. She said, just finished the Snowy Owl episode, and these were taken 2 days before I had my son in 2024.
Oh,
The other
wow.
photos are a black and white warbler, a northern parula. I was wondering if you could please do an episode of these tiny but mighty little birds. The black and white warbler would be quite interesting. Please and thank you. And I hope to see a Kirtland's warbler this year. And she sent some
Oh,
really cool
awesome.
pictures, so we can share those. But yeah, thanks for reaching out, Kelsey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did
I
she
love the
name her
black and
son
white.
Snow?
Yeah.
Kelsey, you
That's
have
so-
to come back and tell us what you named your son, and congratulations
Yes.
anyway. So he's about to be 2.
Those black and white warbler and northern parula would be great things to talk about.
Yeah.
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 Black and white's one of my favorite. Every time we see those, they're so cool. And I just love the
I love
coloring on
those.
them. I don't know, they're incredible.
They're so
It's almost
cool.
like a marbling almost.
Yes.
We've
Yeah.
done Kirtland's warbler. What else have we?
Yeah, we've done
It's like a
Kirtland's
brindle.
warbler.
I have that
We haven't
spreadsheet
done
up
we haven't
somewhere.
done any other warblers, I don't think.
Mm.
No. Is that right?
Here,
All right.
I'll tell you.
Maybe we should
Yeah.
get some
So-
lined up then. So black and white will
Yeah.
be first.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that she was birding right up to giving birth. Like, way to go, Kelsey. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh, we did Blackpool.
Oh, that's
So
right.
we have
okay.
Blackpool, Kirtland's. Yeah.
And that's it?
And we
Wow.
did them in close succession, episodes 40 and 43.
Okay.
In and amongst cassowary and brown-headed cowbird.
Oh,
we
wow.
also did not do pink-headed warbler because of the pigeon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
This could have been a warbler
that is-
episode.
no,
We're
it could have
close.
been more pink. I think we should have, it's spring, so we should have pastel birds in honor of Easter season.
Oh,
Oh.
sweet.
So we
All
should
right.
do a whole bunch of pastel colored birds.
Like Easter
like
egg colored
Easter
ones.
eggs.
Yeah.
All right.
I
We could do
support
our
that.
own Easter egg,
What-
our own
what
Easter
bird-
egg hunt.
What bird reminds people most of an Easter egg?
Budgies, the blue of budgies,
Oh.
the yellow
Mm.
in budgies. Budgies are good for that.
I gotta look
Yeah.
at some pictures. Yeah.
And there are enough pink birds to fill up an entire basket.
Yes.
All right. Well, I think we're getting close on time. Is there anything else we want to chat about?
Nope.
No?
Spring is coming.
People are getting anxious outside. We still have 4 more minutes, and there's somebody that just came and waved. Like,
Did you wait back? Bye.
yeah.
Spring migration is coming to Chicago. I saw on one of the message boards that somebody had seen a Louisiana water thrush at the zoo, I think today at the Lincoln Park Zoo. So, this is right on time. So
That's
even though
awesome.
it's 7 degrees,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
birds are
cool.
migrating.
That's exciting.
Yeah.